Dooperas y Dooperas today on Doop by the River. Boy, do we got a match to talk about as late Wednesday night in Orlando. Here, Philadelphia Union pull one out to get a draw. We're going to talk about that as well as look ahead to this upcoming Saturday against the messy-less Inter Miami. Don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of Doop by the River. And let's get it started, guys.
Doop by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Doop by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of Doop by the River, first off, I want to welcome everyone in and thank you for tuning on in, whether you're watching live on YouTube or on our Twitter account. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button here on YouTube. Subscribe for all your future viewings of Doop by the River. And, of course, make sure you guys follow us here at Doop by the River. And, of course, you can find us wherever you stream podcasts under Doop by the River Podcast. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by my expert in duping. So please welcome Justin Brujo Missile Payload Specialist Friedberg. I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about Brojito. Justin, my brother, man, first off, did you get some sleep last night? Well, what's going on, brother?
I was able to get some sleep last night, so I did have the game on while I was playing D&D, so I was
full disclosure, Justin was a little nervous during that match. A little nervous in the group chat. But
yeah, so I there's this habit of like when I'm not really paying attention to games, and it's mainly road games where if I turn it off when they're doing bad, they start to do well. So I did it, and instantly Jack McGlynn scored. And so I was like, okay, maybe. And then I turned the game back on, and like the Union had another great chance. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll keep it on. And yeah, no, I got some sleep. It was a bit of a crazy night, but as I said, this weekend to be few and far between chances to catch up and rest. I'm a busy man this weekend. Busy, almost a 30-year-old man, and in 4 days, I will be leaving the shores of the 20s.
Oh man, dude, I'm gearing up for that one next year, man. It is a little weird because like I don't feel like I'm getting old, but as time will tell you, I guess I am.
I was saying really because I wake up and my body makes way more sounds than it should, and I'm like, I'm only turning 30.
Hey, listen, I feel you, man. I definitely do. But for sure, man, we probably won't be recording before your birthday. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, give Justin a big happy birthday. If you see him, if you follow him, make sure you guys throw our guy Justin a big happy birthday as he's turning the big 3-0. In the soccer world, you're old, but to us, you're still really young, Justin. So we love you, brother. We love you, man. But Justin, let me get you fired up for your weekend here because, dude, I was in bed when I saw this video. And when I tell you, man, after the Brujo goal, watching this, man, my my nerves and my energy levels were all over the place. So here's last night's Cincinnati versus Toronto, and I must have restarted this right. Dude, what? This is our own Ray Gaddis, and yes, the DP himself, Bernardeschi of Toronto. Justin, like, we all know Ray Gaddis. Like, we're not being biased. We just know Ray Gaddis well. Like, what does Ray have to say or do for you to do that? Like, I'm getting the feeling that Bernardeschi was in the wrong.
Yeah, so like, one, I love how the caption of the tweet calls it a headbutt. It's kind of more like a grazing. Like his head was already.
It's definitely not Zidane. That's for
no. Listen, I think what Ray definitely said was that Olive Garden is premium Italian food.
We like our never-ending breadsticks.
or that pasta bolognese wishes it was skyline chili over pasta. Those are like the two things I can assume that Ray Gaddis said, and until that is refuted, I am sure it was food related. Or that's probably it. Because Ray Gaddis is like too nice to me, like making Yo Mama jokes or like anything like that. So I feel like it has to be just a slight at Italian food. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. Because again, Ray is like one of the nicest men in the MLS, so it's weird seeing this.
I'm sure even Paul's like scratched his head at this one. So, dude, like I was just shocked, and like, dude, we all know Ray's like the nicest guy out there, but you still want to mess with an old head like Ray Gaddis, man. Like, come on. This is definitely very interesting. So hopefully we get some more word on it. But obviously, all of us in Unionville are intrigued by this because we still have a lot of love and appreciation for Ray. But yeah, we would like some explanations. Any our Toronto people would like to tell us a little bit what happened. Cincinnati.
I'm sure Disco will come down with a fine for both of them. I think that's kind of usually what happens in these kind of situations.
It's very true. Very, very true. I want to move on real quick, Justin. I want to talk about our little reporting from our guy Tommy Bogues. So I'm sure you saw the article earlier this week. I do want to talk about it here real quick. Jim and Ernst, obviously their futures are something of debate, something to talk about right now because their contracts are up at the end of the year. Obviously Chicago has been lingering hard with Jim, and obviously for Ernst, it's like how much more can Ernst really put up with Jay's pop, right? So like for you, like individually, like at this point, what do you see happening past 2023?
I would have a hard time seeing Jim leaving for Chicago. One, because again, he's a hometown guy, and two, I know he's a former player there, but the project there, like, there's no real project there yet.
It's a mess. It still is.
They don't really have any direction. I mean, they've developed some young talent, but they have no direction. So I think people are making a lot more of this than it is. For Ernst, I don't know. Like I feel like someone from him, like, you feel like you'd want to stay until you've won the league. Like I don't know. It feels like it would kind of be incomplete if he left before, and I have not heard any inklings to suggest, and I know Ernst keeps things very tight to the vest, but it would feel shocking, I think, if either of them left, but specifically if both of them left. I feel like Jim of the two would definitely be the one absolutely to stay.
I still feel the same way that I've been saying like the past 2 years. I don't think Jim would leave for another MLS job. And
especially a step down, if we're being honest.
Literally, like that Chicago situation is still a mess, and like even if like Chicago would be like, yo, Jim, you be sporting director, you literally can run the ship in whatever way you want. I don't even think Jim would do that. Jim's a smart man. Like Jim is not about power and greed. He just wants to win. He doesn't care. Like, dude, just look at the interview he had with Gooch and DeMarcus Beasley. Dude, like he's talking about offensive, defensive court. He's talking about being an assistant coach of the U.S. men's national. So he just wants to win. And if he can't do it here, if he goes on to Europe, that's the next step for him. That's what he wants to do. I think Jim stays if it's Europe. Now, Ernst, same thing you said. I think he just wants to win. So if it doesn't get done this year, I don't see him leaving anytime soon until that does happen. And we'll see. He has, I think there was like an interview like last season where, he said he might take a break after this one, but he's really just driven by the challenge of winning here in the States. And so I think that's what's going to keep him going here with the Philadelphia Union. But it is something definitely worthwhile. And I know a lot of people are speculating, and a lot of people are worried because, look, it's not only just these two. I mean, after the season, there's so many question marks with this roster in general. So It'll be very interesting to see, Justin, as we conclude this season. But we still got a lot of soccer left. And boy, did we get a lot of soccer last night, Justin. Let's talk about that one. So obviously, Union versus Orlando in a little bit of a midweek matchup down into the Sunshine State. The big thing here for this one, obviously, still an international break. You're still without some key players. No Blake, no Lowe. We got Gold Cup action for those guys. Gazek still international break. We had a little bit of an interesting late knock as Andre Pereira got put into that injury report with an illness. So that left Jim to go back to the old trusty diamond, the 4-4-2 diamond. Bendick in goal with Wagner, Elliott, Glezes, and Bizo as the back line. Flock at the left, Ed Brujo at the 6, McGlynn at the right, Joaquin Torres at the tip of the diamond, Urre and Carranza as your two forwards. And although the Union did start off on the right note, they were pressing hard, especially on that back line of Orlando. And, they created some nice opportunities in the beginning minutes of this match. 13th minute, Duncan McGuire would put the first tally on the board for Orlando. Give him credit, worked his ass off, got the best of Glezes, and, in a situation where you don't typically do that on Glezes. And then, of course, Bendick stands still and allows that goal to go through. 1-0 early lead. That's the goal. That would be the score line heading in the half. In the second half, adjustments were made. Unfortunately, though, Orlando did get the first goal. Did get the first goal in the second half, I should say. Ojeda gets a goal. After a little close review, it did look like Duncan McGuire did get a little tipping, but regardless, that ball was going in net. This is where things get interesting. It's 2-0 at that point. And then Jack McGlynn gets a little bit of luck. And Studhar, who was playing really well up to that point, just allows a blimp to go past him. A long ball. Takes a nice little bounce, falls in net. It's a 2-1 match at that point. And then the moment of the match, I will say, you get a substitution. Joaquin Torres out, Alejandro Bedoya in. Union get a little extra life. And then the moment of what I'm going to call the moment of the season. El Brujo
Goal of the year.
Goal of the year. El Brujo Martinez gets a deflected ball off of a Wagner crossing. He freaking volleys this ball perfect. And I'm talking perfect shot. Gets it right past Studhar. And the Philadelphia Union, ladies and gentlemen, after down 2-0, walked out of Orlando 2-2. There was some scares. Yeah, then goal scare in like the 82nd minute, 85th minute. That gets called back. Thank you, God, for that one. Thank you, our girl Morgan, for giving us the proof on Twitter. Of course, the Santos, top bar, just slaps the post. But at the end, the Union do walk away with the point. So, Justin, this definitely does feel like a win. But what I will say real quick before I get your thoughts, Justin, that goal by Brujo Martinez, obviously, dude, that's huge for his career, his first goal. He's on front page of MLSsoccer.com. But more importantly, Justin, I really feel like that goal is a goal that really shapes a team's mentality for the rest of the season. Dude, you think about it. You think about where your mindset was as a fan in the 56th minute of this match. You're thinking, oh fuck, we're gonna have back-to-back losses. How do you do this after a bye week? You're a little worried. And then they pick it up. They get both of these goals. And then Brujo Martinez, dude, just look at the faces of all the players. Ali's about to get injured just to chase El Brujo Martinez. And so, Justin, this goal, I think it just changed the mentality of this team going forward, man. I think what you saw last summer, all those goals falling are going to start happening. I think this team just rallied around this moment, man.
Yeah, so this was an interesting game. Why I always tell my friend who lives in Orlando and goes to the games, why do they pick Florida in the summer for I would go, I would absolutely love to visit my buddy again, and I was down there in January, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming down in June. Are you kidding me? That's way too damn hot.
We do have to give a shout out to Tim and his lovely wife Courtney. They did take the travel down there, man. Shouts to both of them.
But it was an interesting game. I think the Union definitely got off good on the front foot. The first goal, that was a bit of a broken play. I know Usually Glasnost goes a little more physical, but
I give Duncan credit on that one.
McGuire got admittedly very lucky on that slide because I've seen plays like that where that ball goes right through and past McGuire, or it just ricochets out. Like the fact that it settled as it did, I think people are giving Joe Bendick a lot of crap. McGuire curled that thing really well. Like that was a well hit ball. Like looking at where it went, Bendick. I mean, I know Andre may have that, may not. Like
that's the problem. Andre would have stopped, and that's probably our fault. But
yeah, but I think
that
was a tough one. Going through the rest of that half, the Union had a good number of chances. Going in,
a chance, man. Dude, stone cold.
I do wonder if he should have taken that first time.
Okay.
Like I know he did have time to settle it, but it gave plenty of time for Studehart to come down and smother it. And that was kind of like in the second half. That was a huge chance. Ojeda, yeah. Listen, I think that the deflection gives it a much better chance of going in. Yeah, most likely it's going in if it doesn't have that deflection, but the deflection absolutely helps. And then, you make some subs. I thought Joaquin Torres had a decent game. I still think his best role for the team is coming off the bench as a sub because Daniel Gaz, it's just too, not to say vital, but too damn good, like in that specific role in the midfield. And then Jack McGlynn's goal, that was one where I can understand why Studehart was hesitant because as a goal, your initial reaction there would be either my defender is going to get a head on this to clear it out, or one of the strikers is going to get to it. And the fact that Antonio Carlos just wrecks Carranza and Uwad did not get close to it. I think by the time that ball bounces, Studehart is already, instead of being proactive, he has to be reactive. And that ball already took a wicked bounce. And that was going in. You saw some more pressure. The Erkin Kara one, listen, that's a foul. Like I don't know why Orlando fans were complaining. That was a damn foul.
Yeah.
It's an elbow to the face, and the fact that Chilwell even came back and gave it a yellow because it was a foul, and it was a pretty hard foul. And it was right at the start of the play. Like it's not like, oh, it was a different set of play. No, that kicked off the break. Like that was the break. I do give Jack McGlynn credit though on that for at least slowing him down. Like he was absolutely outmatched, but like he gave it enough time for defenders to come back, and I do give Jack some credit there. And then El Brujo Martinez, god damn, fucking like to paint a picture of what was happening while this was happening, I was in the middle of a D&D session with some friends who I have through the Sons of Ben. This is our secondary campaign that we have every other week instead of our usual weekly one. And this is me, this will be my weekend. We were in the middle of combat, and I look over and I see El Brujo, the ball ricochet out to him, and him do what he does all the time, and that kind of leaning back a little bit and the slice, and I'm just staring, and I see it just side spin, like complete side spin, and you see it, and the more you're watching that ball in real time, it's going away and going away and going away from Studehart, but it's not going fast. Like it's not going at such a speed where you think, oh, it's going wide. You're like, oh my god, that's gonna nestle, and sure enough, off the inside of the post and in and out. And I love Danny Higginbotham goes, there was no reason for Studahar to even dive because by the time he reacts, he's got like I don't think he had any shot at it. The ball hits the post. Like there's no way Studahar gets that. And yeah, everyone's reaction. My favorite was like in first, like when that went in, I don't think I could describe what I said was English. I don't think it was a language. It was just incoherent shouting, mumbling in pure excitement. And like, and I think everyone was definitely Mikel Uwa in that moment. You just genuinely, and yeah, Ali is like gonna pull another hammy trying to chase him down, and
he's back on injury report now.
yeah, and then like I think that was right before, that was like the 90th minute. That was like right before stoppage time occurred, and there were 7 minutes of stoppage time, and yeah, Enrique, it was Enrique came down and hit the crossbar.
Yeah.
And then Mikel Uwa hits the other side, hits the crossbar.
That's right.
And then I think it was like Carranza's, where the rebound came so fast to him, he didn't have time to hit it back in, because I feel like Danny Higginbotham said, like if he has time to see that, I think he puts the rebound home. But that was for a game where you had 2 goals off of like one broken play and one like a really wicked deflection, and you crawled back and got a road point in a game where you could have stolen 3, but I think you're okay with with the rotation you had. You're okay with just the one. It's a draw that you like, one of those draws that feels like a win because you stole a point. You stole 2 points from them right at the death, and I think that was more of an important win. Would have been a more important win for Orlando than it was, like the Union drawing definitely took the air out of the sails, and what probably would have been a pretty solid victory for them.
Dude, Orlando fans have been on edge all season, and like imagine like going through that last night as an Orlando fan. Dude, they're probably ready to burn down Exploria right now.
The highs and lows of being an Orlando fan.
and it's never a dull moment there, man. And you know what's crazy about last night's goal is like you have 2 legends in the stands, and shouts to Union Hockey, Ronaldinho and Roberto Carlos, Brazilian.
Well, they're having what did they do last year? What was the game? What were the game they had last year with all the stars?
Yeah, they did in Atlanta last year, right? Or was that in
Florida? And they just had. So I watch. I know.
So Roberto Carlos was on
Morning Footy, and
Footy.
they were talking about it, and so that was definitely why I was. It's like man, I'd be curious to know what Ronaldinho's like reaction to that goal, because
Roberto Carlos, he had some nice volleys in his career.
But I think Ronaldinho was one who if you've ever seen the goal against Chelsea where he's on a standing foot, like, and just with his off foot hits a fucking curler, like I'd be curious to know what their reaction were, because that was just like I can't even because like how many shots has Brujo taken? Like I think they said the fact is like
200
in terms of like shots taken before they scored their first league goal. I think El Brujo has to be at like one of the worst shooting percentages around.
So I see. Like the thing is like he has this shot. He just has never been that accurate. Like, do you remember last year?
He leans back. He always does the thing that like as a forward, as a attacking player, I was like, you're not really supposed to do.
Right. Do you remember last year's NYCFC match in Chester? Remember that last second game winner?
Oh, the one he hits off of Corey.
Right. That's I still think that would have went in, even if it would have
It would have
deflected.
been a tight. It would have been a weird one for sure.
But he's definitely has a shot, just doesn't have that accuracy and like you said, the fundamentals. But it is definitely dope. But I do want to talk a little about the attack. Obviously, that got a lot of scrutiny despite the 2 goals that they did score. The diamond did seem like a little bit of an issue. I know you were fine with Joaquin. I just don't think that system works for him. To be quite honest with you, I think he needs a lot of freedom, and obviously we know his defensive woes as well. But I'm fine with him coming in as rotation, being like a situational type of player. But like I do think we don't really have a backup 10. I'll be quite honest with you. Even if you do
I
want
feel
to
like
3-4-1-2, I just don't. I really don't like him alone there.
I know. We love Quinn as a forward, but like Quinn might be the only person that I think, because otherwise you're throwing like you throw like a double pivot back there with like maybe Jack and Joaquin. Like you have to. You don't have a direct Gazag sub, but I think the way that the midfield is like stocked, you don't have to, because you can throw Quinn in there and have him run. You can throw Joaquin on there and have him press. I am still of the mindset that they are looking for someone in the summer, and I know there have been reports of some young forwards. I know there was one Eastern European guy, I believe, that was named like an unnamed MLS club, and whenever that's the case, 9 times out of 10, Ernst Tanner might be like 1 degree of separation away from that report. So I think the Gold Cup, because again, think about it, you have Saturday's game, and then you have the following week you are away at Atlanta next weekend. You are then right on midweek, I believe that's Nashville, and then you're away the 8th against Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you have one more game, which is NYCFC at home, before you have the League's Cup break.
Your favorite?
I don't know. I have the tickets for those games. I'll probably go to the Saturday one. I don't know about the midweek one.
That's
but
a tough ask, man.
But I think looking at it, I think this is where your depth at least is going to get you up through to the break, because then after that, the international breaks are going to be less worrying. Like I think this summer with Nations League, Euro qualifiers, and Gold Cup is kind of another weird summer. Like it's weird summers because fixture congestion. And I said it last year, and this year would be years where you're going to be cramming a lot, because you have Euro 2024, you have Copa America, which I am so excited for. I will go whatever game is around this area. I will absolutely.
We're going to go watch Colombia. Fuck that! You're coming with me, Justin. We're out.
Road trip.
DOOP by the road trip, bro.
Do some with some Bad Bunny on the
man
on the playlist, and
Justin's gonna be
nothing but Asado and Guaro, right? let's go full Colombian. All right, listen. I will become an honorary Colombian. I
got the kit.
I am. Oh yeah, I have a couple of those. Yeah, hell yeah.
Absolutely, man. I just ordered me the 1990 World Cup one, the one they beat Germany in. I believe we drew against them, but I just got me that, so I'm excited for that one. But real quick, speaking of transfers, dude, I can't help but watch Orlando and think, God damn it, we dodged a bullet. Remember we were in on Erkan Kara? Dude,
yeah,
I get like Kasper Šivilko vibes from Kara.
Well, and the thing is, he's been coming off the bench more frequently than them. Duncan McGuire was a super draft pick,
Dude,
and
7th overall.
He's been pretty good for them. Yeah, like I remember like when it was like people were pretty sure. And if I remember correctly, wasn't Kara the guy that Kincaid was this was the subject of the rumor that he had like I think the subject of the rumor that he had, like had an unnamed source from that summer that off season. Yeah, the more I think about it, I definitely think we dodged a bullet because like for all the crap we give Mikel Ua,
Much better player.
Like 6 goals and 2 assists in the league. Like he's like at this point in the season, that's a pretty solid return.
Yeah.
At this point, it feels like you're going to guarantee another at least 10 goal season.
Yeah, Carter's not doing what Uday's doing. That's for sure, man. And I'm glad we dodged that bullet, man. That's why. Listen, and Ernst we trust. Got to keep him at all costs. But yeah, man, it is definitely interesting.
The diamond in the Danish.
There you go. Bendit got a lot of slack last night. My thing is that like, dude, we have the best goalkeeper in the league.
Like,
you know, like I compare. You know what I compare it to? Like when you have the best quarterback in the league, most of the time you don't have the best backup quarterback in the league, right? And that's
no one does. Like that.
Thing. You don't always have the best backup goalkeeper in the league either.
Yeah, like listen, you're never gonna have 1A, 1 and 1A. Like if you have like the rule of thumb, and it's if you have 2 goalies, you really have no goalie because clearly neither of them would be good enough to stick the starter, but they're both good enough to like.
At least we trusted Matt Freese though, and I think that's what people are.
But I don't think that's why you have. I mean, listen, you have Bendick around because you have a few years maybe for Holden Trent. I think Holden Trent, based on what I've heard in practice, is pretty damn agile. He's got a lot of the same ability, like the same agilities that you see in Andre, and I think even if you have a fraction of that, I think that's fine. Yeah, I think we're comparing Bendick to the Andre standard, and I think that's kind of unfair. Like, yeah. I for all the jokes I get with Bendick, like there's a reason he's been around this league for a while. It's because he's a serviceable veteran leader. He will give in when you need him, and he's great in that locker room. So I think that's kind of one of those things where if you need, listen, at this point, you're really only going to have to put up with them until the NYCFC game, I think, because I don't anticipate Jamaica, advancing in their group or advancing far.
Cinderella story. Let's go.
like that thing. Like you kind of have the realistic, like how far is Jamaica going to go? And
can they finish 4th realistically? Like, can they be better than Panama or Costa Rica?
Costa Rica, yeah, because Costa Rica is kind of in a weird free fall right now.
Oh, really? Okay. I know Panama's got young kids, man. They just balling.
Panama at least looked good against Mexico in the 3rd place game, although probably the best disallowed goal I've ever seen with Anibal Godoy with the bicycle.
Is that the San Jose guy? Nashville? Okay.
It was a disallowed goal, but it was so beautiful. I was like so pissed that I got disallowed because like it was a genuinely good goal. And that was also Diego Coca's last game.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll definitely see, man. But I'm with you. It's like, yeah, like Bendick's not obviously Andre Blake, but not
no one really is like that's a
yeah. So it is what it is. I listen. I'm super intrigued by Holden Trent. I know like goalkeeping is different than like let's say like putting Brandon Craig out there. Like it's a completely different position. And dude, you put Holden Trent in there, he allows 3 goals, man. You probably just lost a goalkeeper. And so it is something Jim has to calculate precisely because this ain't any other position out there.
Yeah, it's what I've always said. Like the reason that you see like 38, 39-year-old goalies who are still playing well is because goalkeepers develop later into starters. Like you'll see, young guys cutting their teeth and like in England in like League 2 for a few years. And then by the time they're 24, 25, make that big money move to like the Premier League. and then a couple years on the bench, and then by 28 they're the starter. Like goalkeeping is the position on the field where they play like they may not have the starting job the longest, but their careers extend the longest because by the time they're really developed, they're in their mid to late 20s.
That's a good point, man. I feel like all those good goalies are just older. That's a really good point there, man.
It's experience. I think it's being able to handle all the the little things that kind of come your way, being able to shake things off, communicate with your defense, being able to distribute, like those kind of things. Every goalie kind of learns differently, and I think with Holden Trent, you're learning from probably the best goalie in the league, or one of the best probably statistically of all time, and a solid veteran in Joe Bendik, who's been around this league long enough so he knows what it takes to be in this league. Like, and I think that's something kind of that underrated leadership voice that
Goalkeeper factory, baby.
But that locker rooms need. I think that's something that realistically you're going to see, and I think there's a reason. Again, I say there's a reason he's been around this league for so long.
Before we move on to Miami, I can't not bring up, dude. I was cool seeing Glez's wear the band, man. Obviously, Blake on, Bedoya didn't start. Glez's got the band. A little surprised, but I was fucking with it because
I think it could be a future thing. Like, I mean, who knows if Ali eventually retires.
Yeah.
I don't like. I think you could see Andre and Glesnes definitely switching it off. So,
okay, I like that, man. I like that. All right, well let's get to this match here. Obviously, we're all excited. We're still on that high from a Bruchel's goal, but we do got to stay focused and come back home. We face off against Miami on Saturday night. This does feel like it should be a day match. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I don't know. Like, I miss the day matches, but it is what it is. Justin, like Miami, right? Not good. Not a good, as Zach would say, not good at soccer. Not very good at soccer right now. They are clearly, and I'm saying clearly, they had a plan. From the jump, when David had Miami in plan, he had his sights set on a plan. Every team has a plan of building teams. LAFC has a way to do it. Union have a way of doing it.
His was pull down board Messi
or Ronaldo. He was going to take Ronaldo too, but he got Messi.
Well, Ronaldo wasn't allowed in the country for a while. Let's be honest here.
That is true. But Messi, regardless, was still the better option. So Miami is just waiting for Messi, and Miami's waiting for Messi to come and to save them because they are in dead last place of the Eastern Conference, coming off of a loss to New England, where New England really controlled the match through 90 minutes. They're playing homegrowns. Josef Martinez looks like disinterested. Well, not disinterested, but like, what's a better word of saying? Like, he just looks frustrated. Josef was winning in Atlanta, goes to Miami, and it is what it is. So, like, yeah, when you're thinking about this match, and when you're thinking about what the Union are coming off of, how does the Union not just destroy Miami 5-0? Like, that, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm that confident. And when I look at things, and yes, I know how this league works, but like, how do the Union not just spank Miami?
I mean, God, I've been the logical one on this podcast over the season, and it's felt weird. It's changed my viewpoint. The fan in me would be like, yeah, they're gonna smack them down. Like it's gonna be a bloodbath, and then the other part of me goes, well, the Union. I hope the Union aren't looking at this as a trap game and looking ahead to Atlanta next week. So listen, I'm confident. I think the Union will win. I don't think that's really in question. It's just, and I think Jim will get them up for it. It's just one of those games that, like, this has the inklings of a trap game if the Union aren't careful. If we're being honest about this.
Right. And like, if we look at the last matchup, right, they get like 2 lucky goals. the Robert Taylor, Coco Jean, like if they don't get that luck on both those goals, I mean, you're probably talking about a point you would have walked out of, and that was an early one. That's when you had Champions League, in the picture as well. But I mean, like, is Stefanic going to really kill us? I mean, I love Glazes and LA going up against Josef Martinez. Obviously,
not Campana if they're still trying to shop him.
yeah. I mean, dude, what is going on with Campana? That's another question.
They're trying to clean house because they need to afford Messi and his friends. Like literally, they are. Everyone knows in the league that like, and I think that's the problem. Miami got him on a permanent. They're asking for way too much, and they know, like everyone knows how desperate they are, knows why they're doing it, and I don't think anyone's going to offer up what they want, and I think that they're going to have to start taking cut rate prices, like not like insanely cut rate, but like they're going to have to lower their expectations because teams are going to go, well, why are we going to help you out? You're desperate.
I'll take Josef Martinez.
No,
you don't want to come off the bench.
I don't think he'd be great for the locker room with this locker room. Like, I think if you look at what happened with him at the end of his time in Atlanta and the fact that, like, you had, like, one or two players come out to defend him, but then you had another bunch of guys be like, like, kind of keep quiet. A lot of guys kept quiet on it. I think that spoke more volumes of how kind of divided the locker room was. And listen, we've seen with this Union locker room, I mean, listen, if you're a problem, Jamiro, you're gone. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are. No player is above the cohesion of the locker room.
Look, I'm not going to act like I know what happened in Atlanta fully, but I'll say this, just from my observations from the outside. Josef comes off to me as a guy who only wants to win.
And it's passionate when he's starting, but not like when that doesn't happen, that's kind of where things start to derail.
Yeah, and I don't think he knows exactly how to handle his feelings when things aren't going in the way of winning, right? So
pretend to be injured. And then miss an open net.
Listen, Justin's not wrong, man. So, I mean, for your future, listen, I'd be awesome if you're here. If not, good luck to you as well. But yeah,
that's. But hey, also Kai Kamara, what how you doing?
Chicago, what are you doing? What is you?
They
doing?
won. Like they beat Portland and Kai Kamara scored. I'm like, Kai Kamara, you look great in Union colors. Just saying.
What's your time in Chicago, man? Like, dude, trade the hot dog for the cheesesteak, bro. Come on now. They actually did
trade the deep dish for the thin crust.
No, the Italian Chicago beef sandwich.
The Chicago dog with the pepper.
What?
That shit's good.
This man's getting me hungry on the pod.
Oh, I didn't eat dinner. Like I went for my walk and hopped on like 10. I took a shower and I had like 10 minutes to sit on the couch. So like you bet your ass I am like gonna DoorDash or go out and pick something up because I'm starving.
Absolutely. So Javier Morales here, the
MLS legend,
interim manager for the moment for Inter Miami.
Miami.
Dude, like I feel for the guy. Like I feel like he's not gonna be managing much longer for Miami.
No. But if the reported no, I don't think Tata, like people say, oh, like their relationship kind of soured at the end. But if Jorge Mas's quote is true, they're gonna trot him out in Leagues Cup in Mexico, which, by the way, if you like,
I saw that
you have a 35, 36-year-old Messi, or like, why would your first game be against Liga MX competition in a Liga MX stadium where, hey, guess what? Messi's going to get introduced to the word CONCACAF. Like, it makes no sense to me, but hey.
Because they're about to make bank off that match because, Mexican soccer fans are going to give an arm and a leg, like literally chop off an arm and a leg just to watch Messi.
Listen,
are they in the Azteca still? Cruz Azul? Because I know I think it's the first match.
Yeah.
Dude.
Listen, to be the person to say that you threw a flare or a can or a bottle at Messi, that's got you some.
Was he ever played in Mexico? Like internationally?
In Mexico? I don't think so.
Like Argentina, Mexico, like nothing? Like
No, I think anything like anytime they've played in the States, I'm pretty sure it's usually been like maybe once, or I know it's like MetLife, but I think mainly like Miami or like Orlando, like South Florida, because there's a huge Hispanic contingent in South Florida.
That is true, man. So, this Miami team is just focused on Messi, and they're trying to get, as Justin calls it, Messi and friends united here in Miami. So,
Enter Messi and friends.
So, like, if you're this Miami team, like, if you're the guys in this dressing room now, like, imagine the difficulty of just trying to focus, just trying to prepare for a match when you don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. You don't know if the guy who is in the front of the dressing room addressing you is going to be here tomorrow. Like, how, like, this isn't conducive right now. And this is why, like, I just say, like, dude, we better spec them. Like, we better like, I want this done by the 30th minute. Like, I want you relaxed by like 7. Oh, I'm sorry. Like 8 o'clock. I want you relaxed, Justin. I want you sitting up with your little cocktail and your umbrella and your cocktail, just thinking like, we got this. We got this. Maybe a little mate. I don't know, Justin. Whatever you're feeling on that night, but I want this done early.
There will be at least. I'll be at an engagement party. There will be at least a few drinks imbibed on the night,
umbrellas, for sure, man. But like that, like I don't usually talk like this, but when I look at the other situation, dude, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And we're not a mess. We're like the opposite of a mess. So I just don't see how this can end well for Miami. But let's get the predictions real quick here. Obviously, no Blake, so we're going with the Bendick face.
Oh yeah.
What do you got in the back line here? Is it 3 or is it 4?
I think it's back 4.
Okay.
I think your outside backs could be the same. This is a game where I could see potentially Brandon Craig come in.
In the 4?
Yeah.
You think start or come off the bench?
I'm gonna say come off the bench. I think you're gonna start with the normal, and then depending on how the game progresses, I think obviously you'll then throw someone in.
I think you should. I think that's exactly how they should do it. Let's see how it plays out. Put in Craig. Give him some good minutes though. What do you wait? So what's the other rest of the back line?
It's gonna be Kai, Olivier, Glasnes, Elliott.
Okay.
Standard.
Okay. And what about the midfield here?
Obviously Brujo is gonna be your diamond. I think you have the same midfield too of Leon and Jack. I think you still let Ali come off the bench again and ease them in because you got 3 games right after next weekend. And then Gazdag is back, but he should be back because the international break the Euro stuff is over. So I think Gazdag slips right in at 10. And then, I mean, usual 2 up top. I wouldn't see why not.
This is the lineup, man. 30 minutes. Give me 30 minutes. It's done, dude. Give me that prediction, Justin.
Yeah. 3-1. 3-1 Union. I think Miami may get a late consolation, but I don't see whether Union should worry too much about this game. It like Miami's just not playing well right now. It's just a simple. They are not playing well. And I have no reason to believe that they're going to play well this game.
I hope there are not people in the stands on Saturday, Justin, who spent ridiculous money because they thought Messi was going to be there, man. I really hope no one was that dumb.
It's funny. I didn't even, because I last minute kind of was like, oh, I'm not going to the game. I know people that just to like see if they could fool some of these people. Sell their tickets, and they actually did because they couldn't go anyway. It's like, are you morons really that thick-headed to not notice that everything is indicated that Messi would not even be here till July.
Dude, just
to late
Google
July,
something, man. That's what it's there for.
Yeah. People, you can't fix stupid.
That is true, man. That is true, man. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this edition of Dupe by the River. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for tuning on in. Guys, please do me a solid. Wish our brother here, Justin, a very happy birthday. June 26th. The man turns the big 3-0. So definitely show some love to our boy, Justin. And that's going to do it for this edition. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe for your future viewings of Dupe by the River. Follow us on Dupe by the River podcast. Shout out to Tim. Great job down in Orlando. Caught everything, including the goal. He did a great job. So make sure you guys are following here on Twitter for all of your live game updates here, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Until next time, that is Justin Brujo, Missile Payload Specialist Friedberg. I go by the name El Parcero Philly.